Hi, I'm Professor Kevin W. Tharp, and I'm going to be teaching you a little bit about SEO this semester. Actually, I'm going to be providing you the opportunity to learn a little bit about search engine optimization this semester. This class is a little bit different than a lot of other classes out there. It's absolutely applied, and it looks at the process of how we look at an organization's online presence in order to help them to perform better in the various digital marketing platforms that are out there, search engines, YouTube, etc. And so, in order for us to do that in an applied manner, what you're going to have to do, I assume that if you're watching this, you are a student of that class. So, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go out and you're going to have to find a partner organization. That's what this video is about, is what that partner organization needs to look like, organizations that do and don't work, and what that relationship is going to look like. So, in order for this to be applied, like I said, we have to go in and we have to look at real data. That's why we need a partner organization. And what we will do during this semester is we will do a series of assignments that are each a component of a SEO audit or an online presence audit. And so for each major section that we do, on-site optimization, off-site optimization, video, social media, etc., what you will do is you will go out and you will take the tools that we have learned to use in the class, and you will use them to look at your partner organization's online presence. This is going to be an ongoing process throughout the semester. So what you'll do is every few weeks, once we get started, you will turn in a section of what ultimately is going to be the audit. And then I'll give you feedback on those sections so that you can make any updates, improvements before you turn in the final audit and present to your partner organization. So I have worked to make this relationship as easy as possible for the partner organization. Really, we could audit most of these organizations with just publicly visible information, but what that wouldn't do is let them know that we've done it and how to do it. So, what you're going to do is you're going to find a partner organization that meets the criteria, and I'll go into the criteria in here, and you will let them know what you're looking at doing. Get their permission to audit their thing. Several times, a few times during the semester, you will interact with them. So you'll need to have somebody in that organization that will be your contact. And what you will do is there will be times when you need to ask them questions, such as what social media platforms are you using? What is your strategy for social media? That sort of things. Things like that that can only be achieved by talking to somebody in the organization who is familiar with the way that they are using digital marketing platforms. Uh, then what you will do at the end of the semester, you will bring the all together, turn it in as one document. That's your final paper. That is your semester project. That is where most of the points for this class come from, is from the different elements that go into that audit. You will present that audit via video to the class and to myself. And there will be a peer evaluation process that's involved with that. And then what you will do there's no final exam because I simply don't generally use exams. They don't really apply too well to the kind of education that I'm trying to help you with here. But what you will do is you will present your audit to the partner organization that you have identified, and that is what we do for the final exam week, the final assessment week. You will present your findings to your partner organization, and they will email me to let me know that you have done that. So let's take a real quick look at what this looks like. You're going to have access to this Sway. And it's going to have the information so you can check back into it. So this is just an overview of the class. There will be some videos embedded in here. Basically, this says what we have just been talking about, or that this is what we're going to be doing. There is a search engine optimization partner agreement here that you need to read as soon as possible so that you know that what you will and will not be doing. This is an audit. You're not going to be logging into their accounts. You're not going to be changing their content. You're going to be looking at their online presence as a source or a group of sources of data from which you'll answer 4 questions throughout the audit. So, what is it? Why does it matter? What did you find in the data? And then what are your recommendations based upon what you found in the data? And so the whole process is revolved around those 4 questions. And that's what you're going to need to do. So the what is it and why does it matter? What is it is essentially vocabulary. Why does it matter is where you're able to demonstrate that you understand the different concepts and metrics that we're looking at in the class. So you will approach this from the idea that you are going to be educating a partner organization that probably does not have any idea what you are talking about. So what I'm going to be looking for is your ability to define what a specific metric is. Let's just use page speed, for example. What is it? Why does it matter? And then you're going to go in and you're going to look at their page speed using a tool that's made available to you or a group of tools. And then you're going to make recommendations on ways that they can improve based upon what you found in the data. So those 4 questions you will do that many times, answer those 4 questions on different metrics, and you'll learn more about that as we're going along. But what we have to do in order to get access to that data is that we need to have a good partner organization. That means that they need to have an online presence that is active. It means that you need to have access to an organization that will have the ability to take what you've done and actually implement some of it. So if the organization is too small, or is not very active on the web, you're not going to be able to really learn because there isn't enough going on in there for you to pull the data. If the organization is too big, then they're not going to implement the recommendations. So the ideal organization is going to be a small to medium sized organization that is using digital marketing. They have a website. They have to have a website. Um, and they have to have a website that you can crawl. And crawl just means it's the same process that search engines use. Crawling is the process of going in and looking at a specific URL. And so we use a software called Screaming Frog. And that's the first thing that you're going to have to do with your partner organization, even before you go and talk to them. Go to their website, download Screaming Frog, and I'll have a link for you to get that. You'll enter the URL into that there, and you'll start a crawl. And what it's going to do is it's going to start crawling that website to let you see if you have the ability to actually see what's going on behind the website. So what I just did is this just came up with a problem here. Uh, Let me pause this just a second. Okay, that was a problem with my internet access, but it gives you an idea of what we need to look at here. So when I went in there, I tried to do a crawl. I wasn't able to get anything. So you'll see that it's showing me 0 resources for all these different types of things. That's actually a good example of a website that you would not be able to use as a partner organization. If you go into the overview and you go to HTML and after you've had a successful crawl and there are 0 or 1 URLs, that means that we weren't able to get a good crawl. So I'm going to start again and let's see if we can get a crawl so that you'll see what this looks like. So you'll see that the website starts showing up. You'll see this 6, 10, 11. And so what you need to do exactly what I just did. So you need to download the Screaming Frog. You need to install it, and that's the Screaming Frog SEO Spider. And what that does is you'll go through and you will do a crawl of your partner organization's website, and that will allow you to see if it is a website that we are going to be able to use. Now, like I have mentioned, there's a lot of this stuff that changes all the time. And so you'll notice that even within this document that I was showing you, that there are partner organizations that do not work. Sometimes that is because the organization is too big or too small. We've already covered. For instance, you're not going to do a Walmart. You're not going to do an Applebee's, a chain. Really, for the most part, any kind of a chain organization where management of their online presence is from a corporate location and you're trying to access from a local franchise of that, they're not going to have access to do what you need to do. So those kind of organizations don't work. If it's too small, if they're not actively doing digital marketing, social media, that kind of stuff, it's not going to be a useful learning experience for you. It's not going to be useful for them to get an audit that they're not able to do anything about. Some other things that you can't do: you can't use any kind of UW Stout related website or organization. It just doesn't work. Um, the other thing that you have to do is you have to have a website. Mentioned that already. There are a lot of organizations today that are able to function without a website. They're not going to be a organization that works for you to audit, because we need to look at what's going on behind the website, because frankly that's most of what we're going to be working on. So an Etsy shop isn't going to work. A site that is only operating off of Facebook or Facebook Marketplace, those kind of things will not work. If they only have a single page website, it's not going to work because there isn't enough content to analyze. Um, if it's a website that has to have a login, it's not going to work because our crawlers, like you saw with the Screaming Frog, can't get past that login screen. So we cannot see the data, and the data is what we're working off of. Now, this section down here, these things are changing. Like, I used to have to strictly forbid anybody from using a website that existed on a Wix platform. That's because Wix, it didn't work with our crawlers to go in and look at Wix. But with the newer versions of the software, either something has changed at Wix or something has changed in the software. And for instance, you can go into Screaming Frog and enter a website that is a Wix site, and you can actually see all the different documents that are in there. So as long as you are able to crawl a website, we can use it for an audit, as long as, again, it fits within those parameters of being an organization where you're actually going to be able to interact with somebody who has the ability to receive the audit and possibly do something with it. So before you approach a partner, test to see if you can crawl it with the website. So down here is the link to Screaming Frog. You saw me demonstrate the how to crawl and how to find to see if there are HTML documents in the overview. And if that works, that's going to be a partner organization that you can work with. So as long as your partner organization fits within those guidelines, it's somebody that you can use. Now, we've been teaching this class since 2012. If you live in Menominee, or you're going to be living in Menominee when you're taking this class, it's going to be really hard for you to find a partner organization that has not already had this done, because we've had students going every semester for the last decade and trying to audit these organizations. So it's going to be important that you look before the beginning of the semester, because we want to try and hit the ground running as quickly as possible.